Hi, Brittany. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today about your AmeriCorps Vista experience and the exciting work you've been engaged in since your service here. So just to jump in and start, can you tell me when and where you served as a Vista volunteer?
Sure, of course. I think it was 2020. Oh, was it 2020? Okay, so I originally were in, I'm trying to because like it was a lot that was going on. So I originally was in Florida right before COVID or like in the thick of COVID or whatever the case may be in 2020, and I applied to AmeriCorps to go to Chicago for August 2020. Yes, I started in 2020. Yes, yes, yes. See, I just got it. And then what happened was the shutdown happened. Chicago was like, no, we don't want anybody that's not from Chicago here. So I was like, okay, well, and then it had another opportunity in New York City when I came back to New York. And I ended up starting with the WIC office, the Brooklyn Hospital WIC office. And then that was a very interesting location. Deirdre can tell you more about that because me and her were together at that location. And then I got pushed to doing like food insecurity in Harlem with We Are Not Afraid. So about like I started in 2020, but then I bounced around into like 2021 into doing what it is that I do now.
Um, that's awesome. And did you go into that experience thinking that you wanted to start your own nonprofit or to continue working in this kind of sector, you know?
I'm sorry, one more time. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Um, so did you go into the Vista program thinking that you wanted to like run your own nonprofit organization, or is that an idea that kind of developed?
No, it was something that developed over time. Hello.
I gotta see because we're doing a workshop on love and marriage.
Okay, you sent it to me. I just told Louise. Louise was like, "Oh, you haven't seen it?" I was like, "No." So now I'm seeing you. Tell her you seen me. Sorry, I'm outside. No, not at all. The starting a nonprofit thing, doing food insecurity thing was the furthest idea in my head. If I'm being completely honest with you, I went to college for like business administration. I've always worked for like a company organization, just that, and never thought of anything else. If I'm being completely honest. I always had passion for like giving back to the community, but not necessarily like as in doing it as a job, but always doing it like personally. So like me, my friends, my family, we always made food for the homeless people or like, looked out and donated clothes and shoes and things like that. So it doesn't really feel like I think it worked out because it didn't really feel like a job. Like when I started coming to Harlem and doing food insecurity, it just seemed like a interesting episode of my life.
That's really cool. So, but if that's the case, then how did your Vista experience, like when was that kind of moment that it was like, oh, like this is what I'm doing?
Well, I did two Vista terms. I did, yeah, one for 2020, and then I did another one right after it. So like I extended a year basically because I didn't want to crazy. I'm a crazy lady. I didn't want to leave the community. I didn't want to leave my volunteers. I didn't want to leave the people that I see coming to pantry because I was very hands on. Again, this is something that was like the furthest thing from my head, just in general. But like I like to be good at whatever it is that I choose to do. So when the time came for me to like do intake or like get people to come to pantry, make like marketing stuff and prepare like pantry bags, I was very much in on like the forefront of everything. So then everybody was like, "What do you mean you leaving?" I was like, I don't know. And aren't I supposed to leave? And then they were saying like, oh no, you can always extend. I was like, okay, I'll extend 6 months maybe. Then the 6 months turned to the whole year. And then it was like, you know what? By the time I made my seventh or eighth month mark, me and my director was like, you could just, get some funding for your own salary. And I was like, well, girl, why you ain't tell me that last year? And then I ended up doing like this huge grant. I brought in about like $92,000. And then I got on board at my organization I was working with.
Wow. So what's the name of your organization?
So the organization is We Are Not Afraid Community Resource Center.
And that operates in New York City?
Yes, they actually closed down. But yes, they used to operate in New York City and the Harlem area. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know how to. But yeah, so they used to operate in Harlem or whatever, and then I actually helped them the year before I started. Thank you.
Mhm.
I actually helped them expand the programming. So when I started with WANA, we call it WANA, WANA. But when I started with WANA, they only had a soup kitchen and a regular station pantry. When I started seeing that it was a need in other places, I was able to open, what is it, two mobile pantries. No, because we had two on Fridays. Friday. Hold on. I opened 3 mobile pantries under WANA the year I became staff member and director.
Wow. So how let's see. That seems like an amazing achievement. But what would you say has been like, do you feel like there's a great need right now for like for the work that you're doing or the service that you're providing within the community, or
I
what?
do believe it's a great need for the service that it is that I'm providing and doing in the community solely. And I want to say the reason why I chose to like start my own nonprofit was because when it was like the fall of the organization that I was working in, I didn't want to stop the work because it was a lot of people that we would see literally on a weekly basis, and to just shut it down and not have food access and everything else like that, I don't want to be around and see people go, oh well, hey, the food lady that used to give me food is no longer giving me food, and I don't know what to do. Like I'm when I say like I'm actually on the forefront and outside, I really mean it. Like I'll be outside with the kids, rain, snow, cold, whatever. When COVID was, we would be bundled up with masks on outside and shoes, just taking in intake of people that's coming to pantry, trying to like just make sure everybody's like cool, calm, and collected, just in general. So in my opinion, when it was conversations about the organization closing and not being able to continue on, that's what drove me to be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay with this. Like, like saying it is one thing, but then it's like having to experience it, and then like the people that were like on my board don't live in the city, so it's not like, not to say that they didn't care, but it's not really gonna affect them if like it didn't continue on how it was going to affect me,
Right,
in my opinion.
right. Um, well, I just think that's really cool that you were able to go from like helping organizations to seeing that the need had to continue, and just having the wherewithal and the drive to make something like that happen is, I think, very impressive. What and given that, like, do you have like a sound bite or some kind of advice that you could give to current Vistas, um, just about being successful in their work, or like how to navigate, the ups and downs, maybe?
I literally loved my AmeriCorps terms. I literally didn't want to be anything outside of a visa. Honestly, it was so cool. I like to, but with me personally, I like to learn new things. Like I'm very, very active on learning. So I'm in the data entry like class right now. But yeah, I'm really into like learning new things and experiencing ways that I can possibly be able to help anybody, even if it's like one person in a day. It'll like make me feel whole. I can say to the vistas will be, enjoy your term, like enjoy everything it is that you're doing. um find joy in it, like just find joy in it, celebrate the little ones. Don't stay too long on like the losses, and just see it through. Remember why you started, like remember why you're doing it.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, I just think your story is really inspiring. I think the work that you're doing is like uh, obviously extremely important, and I think it shows the kind of validity of the Vista program as a whole. So, I can tell you're very busy, so I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you, no problem. I'm very, this is when Deirdre called me, I was like, oh wow, me? Why me? And she was like, oh well, you started. I was like, yeah. And it's so funny because like right after I started my organization, I want to say after like putting in my paperwork for like 501c3 status and everything, like, with the city and in the government, the next thing I was doing was calling down Hunger Free America. Like, how can I get visas? Please, please let me get some people. I want some people. I need them. Even if it's one person, please give me them. I can't wait. Like, it's literally, I don't know what it is. I love training. I love like being able to speak to people and like showing people what it is that we actually do, because it's stigmas around like food pantries. It's stigmas around like literally everything. And in my organization doesn't just do food insecurity. Like, we do senior services, we do youth development. And then I also call myself like a mental health advocate. So we do support groups. Like, we literally do a whole bunch of things. I just was with the seniors a couple weeks ago. We was making candles. We're gonna be making soap next week. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like whatever it is that people want to do, and if it's going to fit in the overall quality of life, I'm so with it. I'm so with it. One of my seniors came to me. They was like, "Oh, we want to have a party." I'm like, "A party?" She said, "Yeah, but not now. Let's wait until close to the holidays." I said, "Okay, we having a gala. We having a senior prom. We having a gala." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes. Tell everybody. You want to have a party? We're having it."
That's awesome. I mean, that's real community engagement. So that,
Yeah. What
yes.
I do mention, I don't know, like if you're gonna write it in, but we have been able, just so I can like clap for myself. We have been able to make more than 8,000 food packages within 6 months with no funding for the government. Just literally whatever I can get to be able to do pantries, because I have 3 pantries across the city. So we've been able to make 8,000 food packages, which is like so crazy to me. But like when I crunched the numbers for a grant, I was like, wait, what? How? Like, how do we do this? But it's so amazing. I love like, my team, my volunteers, everybody that's like included and everything else like that, because I just feel whole at the end of the day.